acknowledge the traditional custodians of the ground we stand on and thank them for allowing Papa to tell stories on these glorious lands we share.
In this special New Year's episode of 3 Food Memories, I'm joined by a man who has spent his life dancing between sunshine, surf and the bright lights of live television. He's one of those rare personalities who brings warmth, charm and a little mischief to every room he walks into, whether he's wrangling Australian Idol contestants, hosting The Loop, fronting E-News or DJing at a delicious dance party. Girls love him, their mothers adore him, and honestly their fathers and brothers probably do too. In the words of Prince, "Party man rocks a party like nobody can. All hail the new king in town." Scott Tweedie, welcome to 3 Food Memories.
What an intro. Very fitting that you're having a party episode, and here I am, ready to go.
Celebrating. So let's talk about the hot topic. You have a girlfriend.
Oh, this is fresh off the press. You're getting exclusive here. It's exciting. You know, I've been, in the last 2.5 years, sort of really busy with what I'm doing in my life, but so open to having, you know, a partner that I want to do the rest of my life with, but not rushing into it. And right now, a couple of months in, I found a great partner in crime. Little problem. We're about 15 hours flying distance apart from each other, but that's all finer details.
If I was describing you to someone who'd never met you before, I'd say you were that guy at high school who smashed the cross country, always smiled, nailed maths without trying, and wrote with that tiny, small, straight boy handwriting.
How do you find out about this stuff? It was weird. I was good at math. It was bizarre because, like, my whole job and world now is communicating, writing and writing scripts and writing ideas and coming up with ideas. So it had nothing to do with maths at all. I think because I spoke so much in class, the teachers would get so annoyed at me that maths, there was a right answer and a wrong answer. And if I could get that right answer, I can't get in trouble.
Have I done you justice by that little introduction?
Yeah, I was a cross-country runner, so I was a stick insect throughout the whole of, primary school and high school and won all the years and made it to the nationals for running. So that was a big part of my life. I was a little squirt, and so I had all the big rugby mates, but I was a little loudmouth. But at the same time, I love school. I really invested in the school culture, whether it was, I wasn't a great performer and I wasn't a great singer, but I got into the school productions if I could, probably doing the lighting for them. I auditioned, didn't get a part. I think you have a love-hate relationship with school, a lot of people, they outgrow it, and I definitely outgrew my school once I left. But my time there, I treasure it because I think my favorite subject, which was my fun subject, was film and TV. And I was also lucky that my school had film and TV because a lot of schools don't have that. So then to have a department where it showed me this world of storytelling, editing, being on camera, being behind the scenes of productions, it kind of was I like that.
Growing up in Brisbane, Queensland in the 90s, what was that like?
Loved it. Yeah, it's such a great city. Now that I've lived in other cities in the world, I've realised how kind of small Brisbane is, although it's growing so fast. So my time in Brisbane was great because I think it just kept me and my friends and the people I knew very down to earth. And not a lot worries you in Brisbane. Unless the Broncos don't win, the whole city is very sad. It made me just, even from 14 to 9 months, getting my first job, I love that. And I was a checkout chick at Woolies. And then that led to another job. But I always loved just...
Were you barcoding or were you...
Yeah, barcoding.
Right, okay.
Yeah, except the fruit and veg. They were a 4-digit code. But I was commentating all the mums. I was roast lamb this week, Mary.
So
this and that.
This is where you started picking up the fans.
Just... Little did I know they'll be watching the shows I'm doing. Yeah, I think Brizzy just has a great DNA, and I definitely, in the future, I'm not racing to live back there, but I think if I was to have children, which I want to do, Brisbane would be a great city to have them in.
So when did you realise there was something more than Brisbane?
It was my first TV job. I think it was moving to Melbourne, and then there was a good patch there where I was very lonely because I didn't have friends my age. I had production friends, but it was getting lost in a new place and not knowing everyone, and you kind of have to figure things out for yourself. And then I think I come up with a lot of ideas. And in a city like Brisbane, it's just hard to execute those ideas. Whereas Sydney and Melbourne, with the creative energy and other people around, you're like, oh my God, you can actually do anything. Like if you come up with an idea and it's good enough and you can figure out how businesses work or who's going to finance it or where that idea can come to life or how to get a role on a show, I think the ambition of Sydney and Melbourne creatively was like, oh, this feels better than Brisbane.
So it sounds like there were a lot of wins for you in this space. What were the knockbacks like?
The knockbacks were just being lost, I think, in like the university years. I entered uni doing commerce and economics. And that was because like I think my parents worked really hard to send me to a private school, but we were like the poorer kids of a private school. So I saw all the other kids growing up with the amazing toys they had and the huge houses. And I was like, I want to be rich when I'm older. Like I want that because I didn't have that. How do I do that? Go into finance, do merchant banking or do that. And then I was a couple of years into it because I could crunch the numbers, right? It comes back to maths. And it just didn't feel like true to me. And I was missing something and there was something not quite right when I was studying. So I could cram and get the marks, but the care factor wasn't there. The passion wasn't there. And that drew me back into getting a job at a radio station then at Nova and realizing I was getting paid hourly to then do some editing and to film the breakfast hosts. And then I put myself in that position. I just created opportunities, asked questions. You get your knockbacks and you get your no's, but there's always a way. I think there's always a way to sort of figure out how to get there. You just got to learn. For me, once again, I learned that like you can create anything yourself if you film it the right way. So like I met a guy at Nova who was a presenter at Channel 7 on one of those like weekend travel shows. And his advice to me was go make a show reel. If your show reel is good enough, pretend you're on shows already. Like go to Dreamworld, go to a radio station, do whatever. If you make such a good show reel, it's 1 minute to 2 minutes long, that's shit hot, you'll get a gig. And so I started chasing that. So on my weekends, I used my Nova email and was like, hey, Dreamworld, we're coming in to film some radio stuff. Complete lie. Also a lot of lying in there. A lot of just bullshitting.
Fake it till you
make it. Yeah. And so that just then I was filming all this stuff to make this really good show reel. And the world works in funny ways sometimes. Triple J did a big announcement and they're like, there's a new kids channel coming out called ABC3. We need lots of presenters for lots of shows. Audition now. Send a tape in. You've got like a month to put a tape in. At that time, I was at a radio station wanting like MTV and Channel V because I love music. And I was like, kids show? Hell no. I want to be doing, a music related show. And then everyone else at the radio station put in audition tapes. I saw theirs and I was like, I can edit a better video than that. I think I can do a better audition tape. So 48 hours before, my girlfriend at the time, she was my camera woman. We ran around town, slapped something together, put the tape in. And then, 7,000 people applied. I made the top 100. So then that was my first audition at a place in Brisbane called Cutting Edge. They had a professional camera. I was shitting myself, but I was like, just go in there and be you. And if you don't get it or don't get a thing out of it, who cares? That made it to then the top 15. I got flown to Sydney and like that was a massive deal from a guy from Brizzy getting flights paid for down to Sydney. And then, there's 15 of us at the ABC and all day they were auditioning us for different shows. And at the end of it, they were talking to me about this new show that's huge in the UK and in Canada. It's called Prank Patrol and it's like a punked for kids. And they're like, we reckon you're going to be good for that. But throughout the auditions, they had two main hosts, a guy and a girl that were like the main hosts for the channel. So they pop up throughout all the shows. And I was like, I want that one. And they're like, no, we reckon you're the prank show. And I was like, nah, I want that one. Anyways, a week later, call. They're like, congratulations, you're the host of Prank Patrol. Can you move to Melbourne in a week? So I deferred uni in that semester and away I went.
And do you feel like that you've been at the right place at the right time?
So many times.
Right.
But been building the skills to be equipped at the right place at the right time. And, been looking around and because if I can't tell you how many big shows, big shiny floor shows I auditioned for and didn't get. But I kind of then knew in my gut, I was like, I'm not the right person right now. So just keep getting better. Your time will come. I looked so young for so long. And then all of a sudden the greys came and it was like, all right, you're ready.
And the mum is not.
And now they're probably going, you got to dye your hair soon. You're going to look too old. So it's timing, but you've got to be ready when those opportunities come about.
And are you ready now?
I've been ready for a while, and I think I've reached exactly where I want to be. But now I'm challenging myself to do even bigger stuff.
Well, before we talk more about that, let's look at your food memories. Now, you've chosen 3 pillar memories that centre around great moments in your life. They're about people and the connection that happen around activity, which is, I mean, I can't think of you and not think of activity. There's always something going on in the orbit.
Yeah.
What is it about sharing food that makes those relationships so central to you?
I think it's growing up. We were a family that had turned the TV off and sat around the dinner table every night with mum and dad. So that was like an appointment every single evening as a family. So I've got 2 older sisters. Throughout my whole childhood and until recently, mum and dad have always been together. And so it was just like a foundation. It was like a center piece of our house. And so that was where it all began. And then throughout, growing up and moving out, I've realized like if I entertain people or if I throw a party, I get to meet new people. They bring friends of friends into a community, particularly living now in my 5th city around the world. I realized the quicker I can like throw and entertain and bring people together over a meal or a party, it's a great way to connect with human beings.
What from that family dinner table do you take to your own entertaining?
I think it was the quality of food, but I've definitely dialed it up now. After moving out, I was like, the menu was not good at our house. It was very basic.
What was it?
Oh, it was just basics. Like mum and dad did it well. Like Sunday roast was like an appointment every week, so that was there. But then it was like barbecues and then spaghetti bolognese. Just they weren't too adventurous. I hadn't tried my first oyster till I moved out of home, but that's because my mum's allergic to them. She's allergic to prawns as well. She's allergic to avocados, so they were kind of like not on the menu a lot.
So
and then
there's no prawn cocktail with avocado sauce, none of that.
Jibbed in my childhood. So then for me, my love of like cooking, I was the master of desserts. I was like, I realized if I cook desserts, we get it. If I don't, we don't have it.
One thing though, I did in my reading of you, I discovered that you won the 2014 Ready Steady Cook.
Nailed it.
What happened? Tell me about that.
So it was against my co-host of The Loop at the time, Ash London. She's a very good cook. She's got a Lebanese family and she's just so passionate about food. And I just went in there going, all right, this show isn't about the food. It's a popularity contest. You've got to win over the audience because they vote. And I had a female chef. And so basically 30 seconds before going out, I was like, oh man, I've got to win this just from the word go. So I found these flowers at the back of Channel 10 from another TV set, stole them, put them in my bag, and you walk out there and you've got
There's a lot of thieving going on in
and you got
Tweedie stories.
You're gonna figure me out real quick. Got out there and I was like so excited to be here, and they're like, okay, we're gonna recreate your favorite dish, chicken marengo. And I was like, yeah, but first. And I was like, I wanted to just give these to you. And the whole audience was like, oh. And it's daytime TV, so the audience are all the mothers and the grandmothers. And I won it because what happened was when we were cooking, you got 10 minutes to cook, right? The chicken was raw. And we both saw it when she sliced into it. So she sliced again at the edge and gave me a look like, don't mention it's raw. And I'm like, I won't. So I ate the edge and I was like, oh, so good. And I won. And Ash was like, this is a joke. What's going on? It's rigged.
Your first food memory, the humble barbecued wagyu steak. Big in this part of our world.
Yes.
But it's linked to something very special.
Very, very special. I moved to the US 3 months before the pandemic hit. It's my dream job, New York City. And yeah, lo and behold, the pandemic hits. Unfortunately, because of the COVID restrictions in Australia, a lot of Australians couldn't come home for Christmas at the end of that year, 2020. And so we were out in the Hamptons in New York, and we had 10 of us in July, so the peak of summer in America. And we're like, why don't we just recreate an Aussie Christmas? And it was such a good day. So the next year, still very in the middle of COVID, we were in LA, but we were kind of at the tail end of it. Australia was in the thick of it then. And I was like, I'll do the same thing. I'm in Los Angeles. I looked at my Venice apartment and I was like, I think I could put a table down the middle and have like 20 people here. I started listing out who I'd invite, and the list was like 45 people. And I was like, okay. Spoke to a friend of mine and we went to a charity event and it wasn't that good. And I go, hey, I've got an idea. We could raise some money for a charity, but why don't we do a mock Aussie Christmas Day, and we'll get Tourism Australia and a few of our friends to just pitch in, and we'll charge a ticket price and let's just do it. Started putting it all together. Bang, we had 105 people for this lunch, and then that equaled another 100 people. Fast forward now 5 years later, we just finished our 5th year on the Santa Monica Pier, where we have 250 to 300 people dining in for a 4-course Australian lunch. And then we have 1,000 join them for a big party.
So who's doing all the cooking?
So we get 3 amazing chefs. We have Monty, who used to be at Icebergs, but then he was at EP and LP.
Yeah.
So we have Monty, Dan Churchill from New York City.
Yeah.
And then we have Michael Dane, who is a local, who he cooks for like Lady Gaga, the Jonas Brothers. He's like a celebrity chef. So we have 2 Aussies and an American. They come together. But Monty curates the menu, but it's just Australian wagyu. And then it is some Australian fish, some prawns as well, some great produce. And it's showing our American friends what a hot summer Christmas day is like with your friends and family. And it's very lo-fi, but dialed up in the essence of the food. And last year we had imported, Australian beef, this wagyu, which was just melting. And everyone was just, their minds were blown by how good the wagyu was. So for me, it's been a labor of love. It's been this event we put on every year. It nearly kills me every year when we do it. We almost break even. We raise a lot of money though for the Australian Wildlife Conservancy, and it's a labor of love. Yeah.
So 2 things that are missing here. I want to know the music, and I want to know the dessert.
Okay, the dessert. We've arranged from Pavlovas, quite a few years, Lamingtons. And then last year, I don't know, it was like this breadcrumb style dessert. It was like a shortbread, like an Arnott's shortbread. We had Arnott's Tim Tams sponsoring last year as well. So, but the highlights are pavlova. It has to be, because Americans don't really get it. Apparently we stole it from the Kiwis. Who's fact checking that? But so that for me. And then the music, we had Colin Hay perform at the Land Down Under, the Men at Work song. That was a surprise last year. So we usually every year will, once we finish the lunch, everyone unwraps a present. There's usually a blonde mullet wig in there, because the first year we did this, and we're like, we're going to sing the unofficial Australian anthem, and it was You're the Voice. So everyone has to put on the blonde mullet wig, belting it out. Americans are going, what the hell's going on here? But it's just
they don't have anything like this in their culture, do they?
Not really,
Yeah.
no. But it's funny because it's now, this event, like this year, was 70% Americans. They're loving it so much. So we pose it as it's hosted by the Aussies, but it's not an Australian party. Like, it's us showing our culture to them, but they're coming in droves now.
The states are going through a bit of a political, tumultuous time at the moment.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It's heartbreaking because there's so many good Americans, and there's so many smart Americans, and you see what's happening to their country, and you're like, how's this possible? It's one of those things I tell people, you zoom in and you zoom out, because if you're too in it, you feel sad, and you're like, this is a disaster. But then if you zoom out too much, you're not up to date with what's going on. So you dip in and dip out. But it's tough because there's just so many great Americans. I've got so many very good friends there that are really smart. And you're like, how's this happening to your country? What's going on?
Do you think this is a moment by living there and experiencing it, do you think it's a moment in time, or do you think it could be a little bit permanent?
It's not slowing down.
Right.
And it's making people more passionate. I hope it is a moment in time that passes, but yeah, it's some days you think, all right, there's a real big movement to it changing for the best, and then it goes back to like, well, how's this? What's happening right now? So yeah, it's tough, and particularly because we're on our visas there, our visitors, we don't get to vote. I don't have a green card yet, so you got to kind of remain a little bit quiet because it's not I'm still an Australian, so I'm a visitor in the US, so I've got to like watch it go down, but you still have your beliefs and your morals that you believe in, and you can be passionate about that as well. So it's a tough space.
Speaking of voting is compulsory in Australia.
Yep.
But not there. Have you ever told Americans about the great Australian election tradition?
Oh,
the democracy sausage?
the snag, the sausage. Yeah, 100%. They know about that because we do a sausage sizzle at our party for Aussie Christmas, and they're all like, "What's this?" And then we're like, "Well, there's two moments. There's the Bunnings sausage, then there's the democracy sausage." And they're like, "Well, hang on, what?" And we're like, maybe that would like bring you guys closer together, sharing a snag together.
Being an Aussie in LA. There was a time when Aussies in LA were just like, we were just some sort of novelty accent in the background. I'm thinking, Crocodile Dundee. These days, we're hosting, producing, and creating in the city. What's it like for you being an Aussie in LA, particularly in the entertainment space?
Couldn't be better. I absolutely love it, and I think a lot of Australians love it because we have to work so hard to get into that country, to get your visa, and a lot of people don't realise this until you're an Australian there, but like the hoops you got to jump through, it's just crazy to live in that country. So everyone absolutely loves being there, and then we're all so ambitious in what we're doing, and we realise like we're so privileged to have Australia back at home. So like worst case scenario, like I lose everything and I can't do anything anymore. I fly back to paradise. Like Australia is such a nice place to be, living in. So we've got that. It's a backup for us. But then it's our drive there, and I think it's infectious. And then the Americans really enjoy that energy. It doesn't mean that business is easy there. There's a lot of like people pleasing there. So you got to learn how to like cut through that as well.
I want to say what are the Aussie sensibilities, but I kind of want to hone it in a bit more. What are the Queensland sensibilities that you take to your work in the US?
We're just polished bogans. You can take the Queenslander out of all of us. But look, I honestly just think it is that particularly in my life, it's when things go wrong, and things go wrong a lot, it's the positive attitude of like, okay, that sucks, but what can we do about it?
Was that something that you learnt at home?
I think it's just something I learnt myself. So it wasn't through my family, even though I've got to say, so my dad just passed away in the last 12 months, but he had cancer for 12 years and he was on chemo for 10 of those years. And his whole thing was he got told he was terminal and he was only going to have 2 to 3 years to live. He lived for another 5 to 6 years. And he was like, mate, it's all an attitude. Like he goes, I just have to do chemo every 2 weeks for the rest of my life. And if I don't do that, I won't be here. And he goes, and I see in the cancer wards, people that come and go. And he goes, it sucks, but this is what it is. And you've just got to keep powering on and keep that positivity up here. Because he's like, if you have that positivity and that mental strength, he goes, it's a superpower. And obviously his time eventually ran out, but like he fought to the very, very end. And we're also just lucky. His type of cancer, it could have got even more nasty, he just died peacefully in his sleep.
So I'm actually thinking about your tenacity, your strength, your ability, your hope. I mean, that comes a lot from experiences like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And that's what I think throughout all of my career, but then also through my personal life and through my family life, it's all about highs and lows. And I think every single person has that. And it's just what I've learned in the lows has been my like secret weapon now to just go, yeah, shit happens, sit in it.
Second food memory. Now, this is the easiest roast chicken on the skillet.
Yeah.
With crispy potatoes.
Yeah.
For our non-American cousins, tell us what a skillet is.
Good old cast iron. Good old cast iron. Is that an American term? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Because when I got there, I was like, I've never heard of a skillet. And then I was like, oh, that's a skillet. Yeah, the cast iron. So basically, going to like our family Christmases, when we were younger, it was the whole shebang of all the food and, mum and my aunties and even like dad was a big cook actually. It was stressful. The food part was stressful. So then they're like, let's make it really simple. And we got to a point where everyone would just nail a dish, but grandma would always just get like KFC chickens as well as her thing. Not KFC, Red Rooster, rotisserie chickens. And it's almost like been a common gag now of our Christmas day was the rotisserie chicken. And of course, growing up, you call it, the bachelor's handbag. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, as a uni guy, rotisserie chicken was, there's your protein while you're in the gym. So it was always like a staple in life. Once I moved to the US, I found out about Bon Appetit on YouTube, and there was an amazing chef that did a very, very simple chicken skillet cast iron where it's so simple. You just let the chicken, you let it sit for an hour and you pad dry all the juices, put some olive oil on it, put a bit of salt on it, open it up, put some salt in there, and then you chuck it on the hot skillet with some potatoes around the side with a bit of thyme and butter, and that is it. You chuck it in the oven and I don't know what happens, but it's so juicy. It is so tender and juicy.
Are you covering this chook at all?
No.
No, it's just like that.
It sits like that.
Bare chook.
Bare chook.
butter, salt. Did you say butter?
Well, you put olive oil on it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, olive oil, a bit of salt. And then, no, that's honestly it. Let it sit out for an hour before putting it in. Then you put the potatoes, you like chop, 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 and they're kind of like chips around the edges. And that is it. You put it, I swear, it is the greatest dish of all time.
Why was this dish so special?
I think now living overseas for 5 years, it is my reminder of home. And it is my reminder of great people coming together. But also, it's like a bit of an Aussie icon as well. You know, the Woolies and the Coles doing a rotisserie chicken. And like you walk past that section, you know, it's usually near the deli. And it's just was like a reminder of like Australia to me.
Where do you drop the pin on home these days?
It is our community in LA. It's for me, like, I think Brisbane, the DNA of Brisbane will always be home. But home now is the crew and like the community that we've sort of built in Venice Beach, California.
I introduced you as a content creator, but in actual fact, your real gift is building community. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that is my superpower, yeah.
And hosting is just the vehicle. So this is just this hosting business you do is just something that you drive the community.
What's the messaging? Yeah, I think and that's what like the next stage of my career, especially in the US, I'm really diving into that. And that's where I want to help other people that have got great things, great products or whatever, but getting the messaging out there for them.
So let's talk about your latest big-ass project, Source Studios.
With a double A.
With a double A. Why did you add an extra A in?
Legalities. 2 reasons. I'm a big like meditator and manifestor at the moment, and I have been for the last few years, and everything that I really think about and concentrate on happens. And so for me, we have this Joe Dispenza 20-minute one that's been taken off the internet, but we all have the audio through our friends, and we've called it the secret sauce. And it's just 20 minutes. It's pretty weird, but you really just think about like what you want to do. And like I visualize myself, you know, before I had Idol, like on the stage of Idol. And you just put things out there into the world. So we always called that the secret sauce. And then I was listening to Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, and basically he was talking in there about where all these ideas come from. And he goes, all ideas come from a source, S-O-U-R-C-E. And so I heard that word and I was like, source. I was like, that just like sticks with me. And I was at this point where I was about to launch this new studio space and a studio's putting out entertainment. And I was like, I'll call it Source Studios, but spell it S-A-U-R-C-E. Because in Australia, we say source and sauce the same. I've realized the Americans are like sauce and sauce. They're like very different. So that's just where the name came from. But for me, it's all about, I have been, you know, I've hit my heights with like hosting and I absolutely adore Australian Idol. But the next evolution of hosting is just things you really care about. And like for me, it's bringing people together. And the easiest way to do that is around the music world. I think that's universally people connect no matter what you believe in or where you are in life. If you like music together, people come together and listen to it. And I was like, that's amazing. I want to bring that into it. And I just started experimenting with, you know, the west side of LA, which is, you know, a big part of the city. And there wasn't a lot of music going on there. There wasn't a lot of live music events. There wasn't a lot of dance floors. There wasn't a lot of quality sound systems. And a lot of people there in their like 25 to 45 age bracket that want to date and want to meet new people. And I was just like, there's nothing for us to do here, like in regards to that. So just started doing some little pop-up events.
So nightclubs, bars don't exist in LA?
Bars do exist, but a lot of them are West Hollywood, downtown, or the east side. That's like where the main good ones are. And the main big music events are over there. So our side of town, there's still a lot of bars, but like they're not made for dance floors. They don't have areas to like really dance in. Our friends have got a great restaurant, an Italian restaurant. The curtains come down at 10:30. They clear the tables out and then you go. And I was like, throughout my time in LA, I started DJing there more and more and doing like 4-hour DJ sets. And I fell in love with that as well, like the connection of music, bringing people together. And I just was like, I want to scale this. I want it to get bigger, but I don't necessarily want it to be the biggest thing. I feel that what I can do can bring people together really well. And so then I started Source Studios officially a few months ago, Instagram account from zero, TikTok from zero. and just made one video, used my power of editing and storytelling, and was just like, west side of LA, we've got the beaches, we've got the sunsets, but when it comes to dance floors and having a good time, we've got FA. And I was like, and then I just painted this vision. I was like, I want to throw one big party before the end of summer. If you believe in what I believe in and you think we don't have enough of it, hit me up. I'm going to write a physical list of names and let's see. And then the next day I had like 20 people. Then it went to like 100. Then it went to 500. Then it went to 1,000. And then within a week I had 4,000 people registering with their name, their postcode, their email address, their age, and basically just going, we're in. Like, we believe in this.
What did the data tell you about these people? Who were they?
They're all locals. And they're all people doing cool things, but they need an outlet. They need in the world, there's so much going on, particularly in the US, that they need a space just to not think about things and just escape for a little bit and dance.
What did you give them?
I told them, I go, if you feel the way I feel, I'll throw a party. I was like, sign up and we'll ticket it. But I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out where we can do it. I'll bring in the entertainment. I'll bring in the musicians. I'll bring in the DJs, and I'll throw a party.
It's one thing to say that, but what about executing it? Do you just then go, oh shit, I've set myself up?
I've had the experience of 5 Aussie Christmases where that was such a big scale, that I kind of knew what I was in for.
Yeah.
And trust me, it was very, very hard to pull off, but we did it. We got the most amazing venue, like under the Venice sign right there. And we had 700 people. And we just emailed out the tickets. One girl, my favorite comment, she was like, I'm a New Yorker and I cannot believe you're charging people $40 for a ticket when we have no idea who the DJs are, what style or genre of music it is. And I went to her, I'm like, I know, this is ridiculous. But this just shows people are keen. Like, they trust me. They could kind of got the style of what it was going to be. And yeah, we sold it out within 24 hours, and it became the hottest ticket in town because everyone else missed out. And they're like, we want to go.
So what's your aim? What's your mission with this?
My mission with Source Studios, I want our physical studio space that we've just acquired, which is across the road, to become like an institution for music artists when they're traveling through town, and for music lovers and for people just looking to escape, to come to a spot. But then we'll also do bigger ones and pop-ups around the place. And I just want to use my skills of communicating and making entertaining content, and that to live on YouTube, TikTok, and to build this community around that.
So this is a tap into the new digital age, isn't it?
100%. It's an MTV for the digital social age, where we'll just create little pieces of IP and little pieces of content, like little segments. And when things start to move and people like it, we'll double down on it. If they don't, we'll just change the style of it. But really, I would just love Aussie musicians and producers to be able to come to the US and get injected into an audience really quickly.
So this is actually really bringing Australians to that platform in the US to be seen and exposed.
Yeah, 100%.
When you wake up in the morning after you've scratched your bits, what's the first thing that you think?
Coffee.
And then?
Yeah.
Right. Today is about what?
There's like, I've got like pillars of things I want to achieve, and it's like, what steps can I take today? But I also, for the first half an hour to an hour in the mornings, don't touch my phone, and I'll go for a walk, and I'll just be in my thoughts of like what I want to do and think really big as well. Like, my biggest thing right now is I just want to think as big as I can. Like, what's something that's impossible to do? And then I'll get back to the studio and I'll write them down. I'll just be like, bang, 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 cool. Then I'll go home, shower, and then like get ready for my day, and then be more, structured. But at the same time, when I've got so many ideas, you can't do them all. So you've got to be like real about what you can execute right now. And so like the priority list for me is like Aussie Christmas and Source Studios and Australian Idol when I'm back here with some, a brand deal with Amex. And so like that, I just nurture those 3 right now. But Source is going to take a lot of energy and effort because we're about to really kick it off, employ some staff, and build the institution that it is.
Will it grow outside of America?
For sure.
Would you like to see it here?
For sure. Yeah. I've already done one event on the island in Sydney. We titled that Source. And it definitely will. Like, that's just going to be the home base there. But for sure, I'd love an arm of it, because Australians, and also I'm 37. Like, I want.
Hang on. What does 37 mean to you? You're talking to a 51-year-old man now.
Yeah, I think my granddad taught me this. He used to golf when he was in his 70s with guys in their 20s and 30s. And he goes, hang out with like people that are younger than you because they'll keep you young at heart. And he goes, age is just a number. And I totally believe that. I think there's different things you want to do at different ages, but at the same time, you know, particularly loving music, like I'm just always wanting to go out and dance. I want to go to Coachella until I'm literally dead. Like, because I enjoy the connection and the freedom of music. So for me, age is, it is just a number.
Your third food memory, this is fantastic, this one. It's called the community croissant, and it's made with Christmas ham.
This might be too woo-woo for a lot of people around the world, but we get a crew, whoever's around at the time, at the end of the year.
Where do these crews and people come from? Like, is your like address book like just chockers?
It's long. It's long, but it's people that come and go that might move to LA, or I meet in Sydney, or I meet in New York, or, you know, it's just meeting new people is exciting and it's great. So, you know, people that live in our area, we'll put the word out to a select few, and then we get together at the end of the year. And my friend Sandy, who's French, in Los Angeles, he basically hosted last year. So it's like end of the year, I think it was 5 of us in his apartment, and he cooked us fresh croissants, and we had leftover Christmas ham that we put in the croissants. So we ate these, and then we did this experiment. Not experiment, it was like an exercise that we've been doing for the last 3 years now. And it's kind of just, I think all of us get caught up in the speed of life and like, you know, the highs and lows of it all, that we forget to like reflect on what we've done in the last year. So we have blank pieces of paper. You get your phone out and you start in your camera roll at January, and you literally go through all your photos really quickly, and you write down highs and lows of the month. So you're like the highest highs of January, bang, 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 the lows. And having a camera roll, you remember things, it reminds you of things you've forgotten about. So you're like January, February, all the way through. And that takes about 2 hours, honestly, to go through it all. You also go through your calendar just to see if you've missed anything. So like there'll be moments there where you're having breakups, and you reflect on your whole year. You've written it out in front of you, and you look for the common threads of the highs, and you're like, what do I want more of next year? And you can see it straight away. And you're like, what do I want less of? When I was having my lows throughout the year, is there a common thread in there? You write those down as well.
So where's the croissant in your hand?
Well, it's already gone. That was like going to the cinema with popcorn, and the film hasn't started and you finished it. I think I was on to my third by that point. So the warm croissants are consumed. We've done our reflection, and there's a few other steps in the exercise, and you end up coming up with like a word for the next year. What sort of, from summarizing all that, like what do you want to live by for the next year? And it's really nice because I actually get those pieces of paper out 2 or 3 times throughout the year, just when I'm like, things aren't going my way, or like, you know, your year's not exactly where you want it to be. And you're like, hang on, let's look at last year again. You're like, far out. I did have a bloody good year last year. And like already you forget like how much you achieve in a year. Like all of us, all those little things, they add up to then you have like a highlights reel of your year where you're like, damn, we're all actually living a good life. I mean, some people have shocking years and there's a lot of heartache and a lot of pain in their year, but throughout that, there still will be a few little highs here and there. And so it's really important to like look at those and then go, all right, and look forward again and take that energy. This
is a wonderful way of looking at your life without an edit. You can just like, it's hardcore, there it is.
Pen and paper.
So, and also it's another way of setting resolutions without them being resolutions, isn't it? It's kind of a resolution in reverse.
Yeah, but then you also still want to look at the next year and then like set a goal and go, okay, look, if I didn't quite hit the mark, I mean, I've put yoga and getting more flexible with my hamstrings every year for the last 10 years. I still can't touch my toes, but that's okay. And even like I was thinking about this goal setting thing, and the last now month I've been going to yoga again because I'm like, I actually want to get ahead of the game for next year. So I think it just once again highlights like goals and things you want to hit, because like, I don't know, I enjoy being ambitious and trying to sort of raise the mark every year, but also I want to like be in the moment and enjoy things for what they are. And like I don't know, I sometimes race too far ahead, and now I'm catching myself and going, stop, chill out. So my word of 2025 was steady, just to like be more consistent and slow down. So consistent and slow down equals steady, and that's been a reminder for me, like chill out a bit more.
You've chosen as your social cause, wow. Waves of Wellness. It's an organisation that provides free evidence-based surf therapy that supports communities across Australia.
Yep.
Why have you chosen this organisation?
My relationship with surfing, number one, is like when times are tough, I find the ocean so giving. And also it changes every day and it's a reality check when you're out in the ocean, particularly as a surfer. Some days you think you're really good and then the ocean goes, you think you're good? Look at this. And a big wave comes through and just absolutely cleans you up. But, you know, people can't text you or message you. You're kind of in a flow state out there in the ocean. And I've always believed that. And then a really close friend of mine, Joel Pilgrim, who I lived with when I moved to Sydney. He's from Newcastle, but him and his twin brother, they were always very, very talented at snowboarding and surfing. And then he was an occupational therapist in a hospital. So he worked in the health system here in New South Wales. And he just started to see that like he was running these like therapy sessions with people in need. And it was so clinical and it was in like hospital wards or it was in like these like health institutions. And he was like, imagine if we could do that on the beach with these people. So he quit his job and started this organization and where he was like, I want Australians to be able to have the opportunity to do an 8-week course for 2 hours a week where they can go on a beach and they can be with therapists. And on the land, they go through the therapy sessions and then at the end of that, go out surfing. And he just saw firsthand what a big difference this made. And then they've been doing studies to follow that up and the difference is massive. And so his whole mission is to get as many people as he can through these programs. And I think they're up to 5,600 people have done it so far. And yeah, I believe in what they're doing. And I think the ocean and surfing is therapy.
Well, when you're in the water yourself, what is it that shifts you?
I think it goes back to my word, steady. I think it slows you down. I think it just, whatever the noise is, I think it just puts the handbrake on it for a little bit. And I don't know, because I also like some days don't even surf. I'll just jump in and out of the ocean, like just dive in and dive out. And I don't know what it does to you, but like resets you. It doesn't fully reset you some days, but it definitely once you enter and then come out of it, it makes you feel a lot better. So I wish there was like a study where like it does X, Y, and Z. And like from the WOW guys, they've been, ongoing this, they've got their studies ongoing, but there's evidence there that like people that have been struggling in different areas leave it in such a better state.
WOW is a free service for people who need it most. For anyone listening who wants to support the work, how can they donate to help make this organisation continue?
You can go directly to their website. So yeah, if you go onto there, they always need, it's not cheap to do this, to have therapists there and like the surfboards, the vans and getting people, it's an expensive exercise.
So are the therapists surfers as well?
Yeah.
Wow. So these are like surfers who actually have therapy degrees or counselling degrees.
Correct.
Who are out there using the ocean as their clinic.
So these therapists would normally be in hospitals. So yeah, but they have the skill of being able to surf as well.
A Waves for Wellness, it's the foundation of wow.org. Now, we have an MFK Fisher Serve It Forth tradition here, where our previous guest serves you a dish. Our previous guest was Australian artist Abdullah. He serves you a nasi lemak. This is a Malaysian dish with rice, anchovies, cucumber, and a really spicy sambal.
Ugh.
And because he doesn't know where to stop, much like you, and then he wants to follow it up with a beef rendang and a piece of fried chicken Maryland. How do you feel about that?
I just feel sorry for the next person that just gets a roast chicken. I'm salivating. I've come into this quite hungry, to be honest. He's so talented.
Isn't he? He's just marvellous.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's...
So we'll pass it on and you'll eat all of it in one sitting?
Oh, 100%.
You're not taking any
I'll
your
go
little
for seconds with that. Yeah, put it in my batch.
Now, what would you like to serve? You did say roast chook, but I need to push you a little bit. I need to raise your bar.
Let's raise the bar. Okay. I will serve. It's also a simple dish, but it's like a secret little weapon that I do for a lot of friends that come over and new partners. So Bella's tried it and she loved it. It's basically salmon, but you're marinating it and it's like you can just put whatever Asian spices you want in there, but you go with the basics. You go with like a soy sauce, hoisin sauce, and a mirin, fresh garlic, fresh ginger, keep it in the fridge for a few hours, get it out. Then when you put it on the grill, So you put on the broil, they call it, but the grill, and you're just literally putting sesame seeds on it and you're going side to side. But here's the piece de resistance. Couscous, you get the ginger, the sushi style ginger, dice that up and you put coriander with it as well and butter in the couscous. So you're putting that down, you got the salmon on top, then you can either go broccolini or asparagus, and that together, it's so simple but so fresh. It doesn't leave you feeling heavy with a salmon dish, but I've had 10 out of 10 reviews from that. And I stole it from a friend who was in Melbourne called Shura Taft. And yeah, it's the best.
Now, dessert. You did say you're a bit of a sweet man.
Yeah.
You need to finish this with a dessert,
right.
with a pudding.
What are you going to do? You're going to get out the 1990s or probably 1980s Women's Weekly cookbook. It's my mum's one, but I'm pretty sure every mother in Australia had it at that time. There's an apple pie recipe in there. This includes making the pastry from scratch. So you've got to make the pastry, and that takes about half an hour. And it's a beautiful pastry. It's got like sort of orange rind in there as well. So you've got to make the pastry first. You lay that out. You stew the apples, put the apples in there, smack it all together, put it in the oven. It comes out. And you can be creative with the design as well on top, depending on who your guests are with the pastry. So you can do a bit of caricature on there or whatever floats your boat. Serve it with some ice cream if you want to go really out there, a bit of cream as well. But that apple pie, put it with the love of the pastry, which is it's got a custard powder in it. And you can't get custard powder in the US. It's like hard to get. So I have to ship in custard powder. But it's the best.
My final question to you is, when you think about your life now, career, distance from home, the sunshine, the community you're creating and building, with a whole Pacific highway of possibilities in front of you, what does being Australian mean to you in this chapter?
I think it's about being proud of your new legacy. I think our country's a new country. The Indigenous people have been here for millions of years, but the new version of Australia and the multiculturalism here, there's so many moving parts to what has made Australia beautiful and like make Australia like such a good country. And so from my perspective into the future is doing my bit to also be proud of what I've done for the country and for the people here. So being proud.
Happy 2026, Scott Tweedie. Thank you for being on 3 Food Memories.
Happy New Year's, everybody.
That's it for this episode of 3 Food Memories. Be sure to share the plated love and check out our 80-plus back episodes. They're still as delicious as they were when they were freshly rolled. For all things TFM, head to the socials at 3 Food Memories. For more info and to send us a message, head to 3foodmemories.com. 3 Food Memories is edited by Lauren McWhirter with original music by Russell Torrance. Nasteka la Philly, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Papa's podcast.